Hello and welcome back to the channel, and I decided to carry on with our Elden Ring like in Godot, and in this episode we'll implement another important feature without which the Souls-like or Elden Ring-like game couldn't exist, and this is dodging. So this is what we will create. We can press space to dodge a little bit and also dodge forward, right? And we will implement the iframes, the invincibility frames, later when we have the enemies. And also in focus mode, we have the left and right dodge, which is quite different than from the unfocused mode. We'll also add this cool, like, how to say, game dev grid for our 3D material. We will also change the physics engine to Jolt or Jolt. I don't know how to name it, because I found that it is actually more stable in and more proper in our case when making the 3D game. So that's all we're gonna do today. Let's get to it. First things first, let's start by replacing our physics engine, and we will change this to Jolt or Jolt, whatever. Just search for Godot Jolt and you should head to the GitHub page for it. And to replace it, it is actually very simple. You will just do code and then download zip and go to your download folder, and then unpack what you downloaded and go into the unpacked folder, and then you will probably find a folder which looks very strange, like this, right? This is just a hash, and you see that this weighs about 80 megabytes. Copy that and then go to another folder, and by that I mean your project folder. So in my case that's gonna be here, Godot, this is Poor Man's Elden Ring, and paste it here, just like this, no unpacking, just paste the folder and you should be good. Now to apply this, you can see that Godot will automatically detect the plugin, the Jolt plugin. So save and restart. And we'll have to do this again. So go to project settings and go search basically for physics and find physics 3D. You can see that now we have your Jolt settings right here, and here you can play with all the settings. But what we should do first is go to the physics 3D and choose physics engine, switch from default to Jolt physics 3D, and you will be required to restart again. Okay, perfect. And now it is applied, and if we run our project, nothing changes. And this is very, very good, but now we are actually using the Jolt physics engine, and everything should be running a little bit more smooth and be a little bit more predictable. So we have that sorted out. The next step for us will be applying the grid shader to our floor, or basically any other meshes that we would like to have while developing. So I did not write this. The credit does not go to me, definitely. What I did, I went to godotshaders.com and I searched for grid, and then I took metals grid. So all the credits go to Doradoro, sorry, who created that grid, but we can just yonk it and pass it into our project. So let's copy that. And then what we will do is we'll create new, or actually we won't create a new, we'll go to mesh instance and we will find the material override and create new shader material. And we'll click on it and we'll create new shader, call this grid shader, and maybe let's not put it in scene, but let's create new folder, call this shaders, and open. And oh, and then click create, of course. Now we can go to grid shader and let's just paste all of the code. And now we have our shader parameters. And let me just see what I use for colors. You can use any colors you like, obviously, but I have some values here. So this is 1 for 8, 1 for 8, 1 for 8. Then for the dark color, I have 79, 79, 79. And then for the border color, I'm going with, let's see, 70, 70, and 70. Oops, sorry, 70. And now if we run this, let me see, we have a very nice grid. So this is cool. Okay, and with all of that, we have everything set up and we can go back to our animations. Okay, let's start by looking at our current animation setup. And there will be one thing that I would like to change a little bit in Refactor. Is it a good approach? Not really, but there is one thing that we might need to discuss, and this is the fact that it's really hard to figure out how to set up all of your animations because you can do it in many ways, right? So just go with the setup when it comes to your animation tree that is just best and most readable for you. And what I would like to change right now is I know that in both of my state machines I have the same setup for jumping, so only this part is different, right? And the same will go for part of dodging. So you have to actually choose what you would like to have best. One state machine that is maybe a little bit more complex but no repetitions, or maybe repeated states in your state machines, but maybe it's more readable, right? I decided to complicate my life a little bit and to go with single state machine but no repetitions. So let's do this. I will delete this and delete that and put that here, and I'm gonna just call this locomotion, and we will start working on the setup for this. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to say that let me see, this is blend space 2D, and since this is blend space 2D, I know that this is focused locomotion blend space 2D. Okay, let's move that down. I will need my blend space 1D, and I will call this unfocused locomotion. And then I need to go here and basically re-add those animations. So we have idle, Then here we have what was it, frame B, and here also running B. Okay, let's check the animation player to make sure that our running B is looping. So it's not. Let's enable that just to make sure that it is looping. Let's see, what else do we need? Let's open this app. We will need some parameters that define whether we are in focused or unfocused locomotion, right? So let's do this transition from start to here, and let's define our conditions. So is let's say is unfocused animation on, and that will be the name of the condition that we can trigger from our code to basically switch state from focused to unfocused animation state machine part. And here we'll just do is focused animation on. Okay, and with all of that, we can basically reuse what we have here. So you can go from focus locomotion to jump start, and the same should be available here. And you can go from jump land to unfocused locomotion. So let's maybe move that here a little bit, but then we have to define everything. So here we go with enabled, and here we will go, so the setup is the same like for focus locomotion, and here we'll go with auto but switch at end. But then we will also have to resolve the issue where the state machine basically is stateless right now. It doesn't know the previous states, right? So we know that from unfocused locomotion we can go to jump start, and we know that from focused locomotion we can go to jump start. But when we go to jump land, it doesn't really know to which blend space it should go back. So what we'll do is we'll tell it by just specifying the condition. So if it's focused, then go to focused, and then for unfocused, go to unfocused. Okay, and with all that set up, basically right now what we have to do is change our code so that it is still working as previously, because if we run it right now, so it's definitely not working at all. Okay, let's do this. So there are a few things that changed. One thing is, if we go to parameters, there they are now different, right? So we have to respect that in our code. So let's open up the code and let's start changing stuff. So one thing we will do is we don't need this any longer, but what we need is to take that, and I'm going to export this, and I'm going to define that value by going to animation tree and seeing that parameter locomotion playback is here. So I copy property path, and I can just go to my player here and just do please update. Cannot export. Yeah, we need a type, and this is a string, of course. Okay. This shouldn't be here any longer. Let's see. I believe that's something is, oh yeah, it cannot compile right now. Let's see, we don't really care about that anymore. We just need the file to compile. Okay, now we have it. Now I can pass this. So this is the path to a playback. Perfect. And I can basically get rid of that line. Okay, so we have that. We need to update our switch movement mode. So we need, collapse this. We need information and access to both of those parameters to switch the conditions from enabled to disabled for focused animation and unfocused animation. So here I'm just going to write enabled parameter is equal to, let's copy this property, and this is of course a string, if movement mode is equal to movement mode focused, else is going to be unfocused. Okay, and then parameter to disable, because we need to write control both of those parameters. And this is the other way around. So this and then this. Okay, perfect. So we have the parameter enable or disabled. And now that I write this, I wonder whether we could actually do this with just a single condition. Probably, maybe, but let's stick with this. Let's not deviate from the script. Maybe we will do refactoring in the later episodes, naturally. So animation 3 set enable parameter to true, and animation 3 set disable parameter to false. Then we need to do the playback. So let's get the playback. So this animation 3 current state playback path as animation state machine playback. Okay, we have this. Then let's figure out the travel name, and this is going to be, let's see, we have focused locomotion and unfocused locomotion as names for our blend spaces. So let's do unfocused locomotion if movement mode is equal to movement mode unfocused, else focused locomotion. And then we don't do transition anymore. We just do playback. What's playback? Playback. Playback. Travel. Travel name. And let's see what else is going to be broken. Well, one thing that I can see is that we're working constantly right now, and this is still not working. This is probably because our parameters are wrong right here, right, and they're not being passed to animation tree. So let's figure out the proper names for the parameters. So for the blend position, for the blend space 2D, I can just copy that property, and let's see, this is for focused. So we're doing this, and then for unfocused, we are doing this. Okay, let's see. Okay, seems like the unfocused locomotion is working nicely, and then for the focused, it's also doing good. But then if we switch those around, this is not working anymore. And we're jumping at the very start. Okay, let's figure out what is going on. And I think that the issue we see here is in our animation tree, because what we don't have actually is the ability to switch directly from unfocused locomotion to focused locomotion. And therefore we have to, if we would like to switch from unfocused locomotion, right, we have to go through jump animation, and the same goes for the focus animation. We have to go to get from here to here, we have to go through here, which makes no sense. So let's connect these and let's see how we should actually set this up. So we will set this up as immediate switch with enabled transition, and the same goes for that one. But what we need also is just a little bit of fade time to make it smoother. And let's try now. This is unfocused and back to focused, right? Okay, so this is now all working the same way it was working before. So in the next section we will start working on our dodging. So first thing we are going to do is we will set up the dodging for our unfocused locomotion. And one thing that we have to be aware of is if we go to our animation player, we don't really have that typical roll animation that you will see in all of these Souls-like games. So we have to just use what we have here with dodge backward, forward, left, and right. So this is not going to be perfect, but here we are just simply limited to what we have when it comes to animation in our asset pack. But I believe that this is going to be enough. Nevertheless, we're not really making a full-blown game. We're rather just trying to mimic some stuff that we see in games like this. But it's going to be fun, I hope. So let's go to animation, open our state machine, and let's start adding stuff. Let's focus the unfocused locomotion first by adding dodge backward animation and dodge forward animation. Let's add the transitions. Okay, perfect. And this is going to be enabled and smooth out, and this is going to be smooth out, automatic, and triggered by at the end. The same goes here. So this is enabled, point free, and this is going to be enabled and at end. I'm sorry, auto and at end. Okay, so these transitions are now available. Let's go to project settings, input map, and we'll change a little bit. We'll try to mimic the scheme that is actually in Elden Ring. So the jump is actually being performed by F key, and then new action dodge is being performed by space. Okay, so we have everything set up. One thing that we have to remember about our unfocused locomotion is that dodge backwards basically is triggered only when we don't have any other input pressed, right? So if we're just standing still, we're we're dodging backwards. If we're moving in any direction, left, right, front, or back, we're just playing the forward animation. Because, right, if we're standing still, then we just dodge backward, but moving in any direction, right, should allow us to play the dodge animation, the forward dodge animation in that direction. Okay, so let's implement all of this. So we will need a state here is dodging, and basically what I will start with is I will create a new function and call this finish dodge. So that should happen at the end of dodging. We should definitely set is dodging to false, and we should also reset our velocity. Okay, and to make it work, we have to call this from the animation event. So going to animation player, animation tab, let's find dodge forward, move it to the very end, add track, call method on a player, and let's insert the key. And that's going to be finish dodge at the end, and the same goes to dodge backward. We're at the end, we're adding the call method track on the player, insert key, finish dodge. Okay, that's done, right? That was the easy part. Let's now figure out our dodge function, okay? So let's go to our input event and let's listen to input is action just pressed dodge. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read the movement input. So input get vector, this is left, right, forward, and back. And we will write a function soon, but first let's see whether basically what we would like to do is pass that to our dodge function that we have to write. And let's do this dodge, and basically we are arriving at the moment that our player script is growing rather big, even though that's like 140 lines, but there's one problem with it, and let me show you why. So what we have here is player controller, right? But at the very same time, it controls a lot of things. It controls the physics, so the velocity and stuff like that. It also controls the input reading, and it also controls animations, right? And to be honest, this is a little bit too much. So probably in the next episode, or maybe episode after that, what we should do is actually take that player and make it basically just like a central hub, but then split those responsibilities into different scripts and different nodes. So probably we will have something like physics controller, input reader, animation controller, all in different nodes, because you really have to think about what is your script doing, sorry, and it should be just one well-defined thing. And you should basically be able to describe your scripts like this is X and is doing Y. So for example, this is physics controller and it controls rotation and velocity. This is input reader, it reads the input and sends signals. This is animations controller, it is working with the animation tree to play or travel the to proper animation state. But right now I cannot say anything like this about player, because right now I can just say this is player controller. It sets up the physics, it reads the input and also controls animations. Even if you say the sentence like this, it's going to be too much. But we will handle this a little bit later. I just wanted to share that with you. So dodge function. So it takes direction as a vector 2, and first thing we're going to do is set is dodging to true. Then we'll get the axis playback. So animation tree, get current state playback, and we will handle the now unfocused movement mode. And we will do different things depending on whether we have the direction or not. So direction is equal to vector 2 0. You can just say velocity is equal to rig transform basis z. So this is the z axis of our rig, and dodge velocity, oops, which we'll just export. So let's go here, export dodge velocity. So what we have here is a value of, I don't know, let's decrease the movement speed to 15 and let's make this be 25. Okay, and then we can use this. Dodge velocity is, did I make dodge, like dodge viper. Okay, this is now working. So if we're standing still, we should be moved back, but also we should travel to playback, travel, dodge, backward. Any other situation, simple, we just say velocity minus rig transform basis z. Be mindful of that minus because we would like to be propelled forward. And of course, if we take a look at how the axis for our rig are set up, you can see that this is sorry, this is positive z, and this is the forward will be negative z, right? Going back, so minus times dodge velocity, and then we just do playback, travel, dodge forward, and let's see what we get. So right now I'm just pressing dodge, okay, and nothing happens as of yet, right? But at least we're playing the animation. So let's see why we are not moving. Maybe, probably because no, we have the dodge velocity. Right, and that might be because we override the velocity here in get input. So if is dodging, just return. And let's see now. Okay, we're still kind of stuck when it comes to movement here, but it seems to be working when we're moving forward. Oh, definitely a stupid typo. Let's try this again. Okay, one thing you might notice is that we will rotate when dodging backwards. Right, and this is not what we wanted. So to prevent that, actually we can go here to our handle rotation, and we will do some checks here. So if it's dodging, we can just go and return. Early return is always nice. Let's try this now. Okay, now we are being propelled into the correct correct direction. And you might say, well, this feels a little bit unnatural, and it takes it is like, whoops, no. And we travel to match distance. To alleviate that, you can just go to player and change the dodge velocity to something lower, right? And here it looks good when dodging forward, right? Especially if you take a look at it from the back. Right? So what we might do is actually add another variable here and call this dodge back velocity, and we'll set this to be 20 and or even less, maybe just 15, and we'll leave that on 25, and then using that in when applying the velocity for the backwards dodge. And let's see how that works. Still feels a little bit too much. Let's see, dodge back velocity. Can we change it to be even lower? Oh no, this is, damn it. This is dodge back is here. I'm not thinking straight. Okay. So let's limit this to 15. Let's try this again. Okay, now that feels a little bit better. No. Okay, so with that dodge, dodge, and then moving back is also good. And of course, I encourage you to play with these parameters to make them fit your own needs, right? Could even make it a little bit better and a little bit more readable. Let's do export group dot dodge, and then export group empty here, and now we have that nicely grouped. Cool. So this is it when it comes to dodging with the unfocused locomotion. Now, for a little bit more complicated stuff, we will handle dodging in the focus locomotion state, which will be a little bit harder, but not that much. So let's do it. Let's go to animation tree, open our state machine, and let me see. We will definitely need to add the dodge left and dodge right. So let's do this right now. Dodge left and dodge right. Need to make sure that they are set up correctly and that they are calling our finish dodging function and dodging or something like this. So we call method track. Add this, insert key, finish dodge, and the same goes for dodge right. Call method, player, insert key, finish dodge. Okay, so with that out of the way, we can connect these. So let's do that and that, that and that, and again setting this up to enabled. This is also enabled, advance, at end, and at end, and let's add a little bit of blending. And at this point, we basically have to choose. We can connect our, let's grab this, focus locomotion. Let's grab all of these. With dodge backward and dodge forward. Or we could just copy them and plug them here. Or connect them directly. So here and here. And this is again enabled, and this is at end, but we have to specify when to go here and when to go here. So this is the same as with the jump land. Is focus locomotion, and here is unfocused locomotion. This is enabled. This is good. So let's add the last connection here to here. This is enabled, and this is at end. And this is for the focus locomotion, and this is for unfocused. Let's check that again. Of course, add the blending. And this is what I was talking about. So what you're getting is the fact that we have no repetitions, but if you take a look at this, this starts to look sorry, a little bit like spaghetti, and we will have to keep that in mind when we will continue with our animations for stuff like interactions or attacks, because I would leave it at this, and ideally I would like to not expand this anymore. because it's already looking a little bit complicated. So we'll try to utilize the other functionalities of our blend tree, not only the single state machine, to keep everything in line. Okay, but this should be the setup that we need when it comes to animations, and we can go back to coding. And I don't think there's really gonna be that much that we need to change, but we will have to go to dodge, and here we should handle the other part of our movement. So else, first thing that we'll do is we will check whether we have a direction set to vector to 0. If so, we will say the velocity is equal to rig transform basis z times dodge back velocity and play back travel dodge backward. And let's see whether this actually works, and whether our setup here with the focus locomotion works at all. So we're starting unfocused, we're going to focus locomotion, and I'm pressing space, and this is working good. Okay, cool. Then we can move to other parts. So else if we have to handle all of the cases here. Vector 2 is equal to left. We say that the velocity is equal to minus rig transform basis x this time, because we're dodging a left or right. Dodge velocity, playback, travel, dodge left. Then let's handle the right case. Dodge backwards. And forward. Okay, let's see how this looks like. So switching to focused, and I'm dodging. Nice. And oh no, something is wrong with our dodge left. Let's see again the animation player. This looks correct. Dodge left. That should also call finish dodge. Let's go to animation tree. Dodge left. Let's see. looks like we're missing something. Advanced auto on end, mediate. Because it feels like it just won't end. Maybe there's some kind of looping. No, not really. And this, yeah, this is a very stupid mistake, but let's check dot right. You can see that the animation takes 0.4 seconds and finish dodge animation event is going to be triggered at time 0.4 right here. But then in dodge left, I was a little bit incorrect and I set this to 0.5 while the animation itself takes 0.4, meaning this animation event isn't going to be triggered at all. So let's move it 0.4 and that should fix our issue. Yeah, so we're dodging, but unfortunately something is wrong with our vector down and vector up, and this is another stupid mistake on my part. Unfortunately, 3D script editor in Godot doesn't have something like a linter or any other tool that will inform you about your stupid mistake. Here's the typo: L if vector 2 is right, which will resolve in true. We need direction equals. And now when we switch to focus movement and we go back, we slide back, we go front, we slide front, we go right, we slide right, and we go left, we slide left. Okay, is there any other issue now that I remember? We have a jump, which is not working right now. Okay, that doesn't look too good. So let's see. So we are unfocused and we're not jumping anymore. So let's see, animation 3, an editor jump. And yeah, that should happen if we have this focused animation on, and then this should happen for, let's see, wait, this should happen for focused animation, this should happen for unfocused animation, and also this should happen only for unfocused animation on. Okay, let's see where this solves our issues. Not really, we're still stuck. So let's see what might be the problem. Okay, so the thing that I think we're missing is actually the blending here. So here we have 0.3 and now we have 0 here, and this makes us go straight to the idle, right? And this is because if we take a look at the transition transition here, it's immediate, right? So this even doesn't have a time to fire. We go from here and then immediately, because we don't have any fade time, so this is like a delay time, we go here. So if we go here, maybe we could change that to at end. Let's see, and it will be working even if we leave it at even if we leave that at the mediate, but at end seems like just more proper. But if we leave that at 0 here and leave at end here, see, yeah, it also works. The one thing that I'm seeing is, which is kind of strange, is that we're rotating while jumping, right? So that's not good, but there's an easy way to prevent that. Let's go to where we handle rotating. So is dodging or is not on floor, just return. And with that, okay, we're still rotating. Let's see. This is definitely not what I wanted. If he's dodging and is not on floor, we shouldn't rotate. So to fix that, we'll just cut this out and add another condition here for that movement when we're only on the floor, right? For unfocused movement at is on floor here. And with that, we have no rotation. So this is cool. So yeah, basically this is what we wanted. This is what we needed. And there you go. This is the basics of dodging for Souls-like controller, and we have nice grid. We have dodging both in focused and unfocused movement, and we will continue from that to the next episode, and maybe we'll start to look into attacking or environment. Both options are valid. So yeah, if you'd like, join the Discord. Please like, subscribe, or leave a comment. I really like doing those tutorials, and I appreciate all of your support. Thank you. Goodbye.